So the book in Dragonflight confirmed that there are indeed 5 old gods and not the 4 we had known about all this time. However, when you examine it a little bit further, it says that 5 old gods were chained, not found, not defeated, but in fact imprisoned. We know about the prisons of Yogg-Saron, Khatun, and N'Zoth. Y'Shaarj is the 4th old god said to have been defeated and obviously not imprisoned because he was pulled out. So what exactly are these 2 remaining prisons that we are likely yet to discover? If one is Xal'atath by all the popular theories, who could possibly be the 6th old god? If Xal'atath even turns out to not be an old god, we could be discovering brand new characters, brand new old gods in the future, which could really change everything. So what is even going on? Xal'atath has been messing with us, but people have been messing with your private info with malicious intent, and you can stop that right now with this video sponsor, Aura. People have been making fake accounts with my info, and it's really not fun. However, Aura is not another run-of-the-mill privacy protection service. It is your shield against the unseen forces that seek to exploit your personal information. It handles the removal of your private info. There's a VPN, a password manager, amongst other features, all super easy to set up. Let Aura do the groundwork, keeping you safe so your private info can stay just that, private. Best of all, you can try Aura completely free for 2 weeks with my link in the description or the QR code on the screen, so you can let people profit off your private info, or you can go to aura.com/DoransMovies and check out Aura today and start your free trial. This book that was the biggest hint so far, at least until the newest Riddickron cinematic, it came out prior to 10.1, so about a half a year ago, and I gotta say, there's definitely something I have missed early on, and that is that not only did Blizzard confirm that a 5th old god exists, that it's hidden somewhere, but there is also a 6th one as well, which could be something completely unexpected. It is 100% obvious something is going on with the old gods. Not only do we have so many hints, but we had literally seen Xal'atath return in the newest cinematic. She was in the portal. There are so many themes in Dragonflight that go back to the first ordering of Azeroth, from all the talks of the Titans and seeing both their perspective, the perspective of the Black Empire. I mean, we even traveled back to the Black Empire in the time travel scenario. Everything really seems to be set up for us to learn what really happened back in the day, back on Primordial Azeroth. So what is really interesting about this is it doesn't really happen often in World of Warcraft, if ever, and that is that Blizzard decided to do an anti-retcon, like a reverse retcon of sorts. All the way back in Classic, we had this document titled The Old Gods and the Ordering of Azeroth, which confirmed to us back in the day that 5 old gods were chained. Then this was retconned with the Chronicle, but now in Dragonflight that original document came back to the game. I'm guessing Blizzard isn't really going to address this inconsistency, address this as a retcon, because they had essentially retconned the whole Chronicle. So the entire premise of this book is the main document of the lore is false, and it is apparently old from a Titan perspective. So the Titans probably still claim that 4 old gods were indeed chained. Now that is cool and all. I mean, I guess the Titans are hiding one. However, when you examine it, not only are they actively hiding one, but they may be hiding 2, because these are the old gods that we know. We know of Khatun, we had seen his prison. We know of N'Zoth, we had seen his prison. We know of Yogg-Saron, we were inside his prison. However, the 4th old god that was known in the lore we know of is Y'Shaarj, and there is no prison of Y'Shaarj. He was supposedly killed by the Titans in the ancient times in this war. So why would he even be imprisoned? This means that even the edited document is saying there is 1 more imprisoned old god, but the uncensored version says there is 2, which means that we may be in for some really fun times. I mean, without actually talking about it, let us examine what the document says precisely. The Pantheon shattered the old god citadels and chained the 5 evil old gods far beneath the surface of the world. Without the old gods' power to keep their raging spirits bound to the physical world, the elementals were banished to an abyssal plane where they could contend with one another for all eternity. With the elementals' departure, nature calmed and the world settled into peaceful harmony. Then the notes scratch on this, which is also from multiple documents, but it says this, and obviously it is all god biased. The power of the elements was not so easily contained, nor could they bind the influence of the old gods. The peace came through oppression. Are they truly ignorant to what lies beyond the waves? the document itself, as you may know, obviously says 5 old gods were chained, not 5 were found, or we defeated 5 of them. By this logic, Y'Shaarj would have been the 6th one, and they chained 2 more beneath the surface that we never even heard about. Now, all of this is already old news, but let's go back up to speed to what is going on currently with all the updated stuff. The old theory that Xal'atath may be the 5th old god may just end up being fully accurate. Obviously, something is going on, you know, Harbinger, Azshara, yada yada. I mean, I don't want to repeat myself a million times in every video. Back in the day, it was said that Xal'atath was the claw of Y'Shaarj. Some theories said that she was an old god that was defeated by the others in some sort of a civil war, but if she was defeated by the old gods in the ages past, why would the Titans imprison her when they had arrived? Well, I think the main answer comes down to this, and it is the official information Blizzard told us on multiple occasions. I mean, here is what Blizzard said back in 2012, so more than a decade ago. They do not die, they do not live, they are outside the cycle. Maybe that would explain why records of the old gods seem to be inconsistent. Only those on the outside would know for certain. Then, just prior to Dragonflight release, they also confirmed in an interview that old gods don't really die, and since we went to Shadowlands, saw that death is really just a meme for mortals. I mean, it makes complete sense. Why would old gods, beings of the void, be able to die on Azeroth in the material plane and be gone for good, just like regular mortals? Now, this brings us back to who exactly these 2 old gods may be, and honestly, I have 2 plausible theories. For one, I'm almost certain it is Xal'atath. I mean, you can check out my previous videos on her quotes for more details, but the summary is, she just really knows way too much, is way too informed, and on so many occasions, she references the old gods as equals, not her masters, which is generally what faceless ones would do, or just direct followers of the old gods. She even says this, which is super interesting and super relevant to what is currently going on. The research into the void here is commendable, but ultimately futile. How could you possibly understand what the Titans did not? Keep in mind, we learned from the recent stuff and back from BFA that the Titans tried to figure out how exactly the old gods tick, how they work, and they never actually managed to figure it out. Through their experiments of trying to get rid of them, they only managed to create G'huun that we can see in BFA. So just to say that theory that G'huun is the 5th or the 6th, I mean, he was created later when the prisons were already in place. He was a side effect of them trying to reverse engineer the old gods, so obviously G'huun is not the missing link here. So either Xal'atath was alive and actually fought the Titans as they invaded Azeroth, but this was hidden from us, or she was kept in a weakened state as she was defeated by the others in a civil war, as the theory states. Then the Titans found her and also imprisoned her in some way so that she doesn't get her powers back, and now we may be in for some really interesting times. However, that is not really that outlandish of a theory anymore. I mean, we saw her in the portal with Ridicon. The real question is, who is the 5th imprisoned old god? And here things get really interesting. Honestly, I don't think there is in fact a hidden new old god that they're going to come up with, although obviously the possibility exists. If you use the same logic we used to see why the Titans would chain up Xal'atath and how that works for these beings, the 5th one would obviously be Y'Shaarj. If the old gods are outside of the cycle of life and death and they can't really be killed, why would the Titans be able to kill Y'Shaarj? They said they just pulled him out and created a Well of Eternity. There was a wound where the Blood of the World Soul was. Keep in mind though, Y'Shaarj was crazy powerful, the strongest of all the old gods. He spread through like half of Azeroth. Old gods are interplanetary, cosmological, monstrous deities that can influence mind, influence timelines, and who even knows what they can do. I mean, they're not just overgrown ticks where if you pull them well enough, the entire thing is just completely removed. This means that Y'Shaarj may in fact be alive and imprisoned somewhere, and this could be that hidden beyond the wave skin. They pulled him out, maybe realized that since who even knows what was left of him, he can't be put into a regular prison, so they had to hide him somewhere beyond the waves in a more sophisticated prison, possibly on a brand new, completely hidden continent. I mean, just think about this logic. I mean, we had seen the heart of Y'Shaarj back in Myths in Pandaria and how his corruption affected the entire continent. I mean, really, do you think they ripped out this monstrosity? His heart just fell clean out and that is all that was left from this guy that essentially ruled all of Azeroth. I mean, sure, they say some of his remains fell on Pandaria that created a Shah, but it is likely that something didn't fall or was still in the ground ground and the Titans had to hide it from us and to chain him below to chain the remains. So if we go by this logic, it is likely that we are yet to discover the prison of Xal'atath and the prison of Y'Shaarj, and they could potentially be on a brand new, completely hidden continent. Xal'atath could likely just be an avatar of the actual old god, and who even knows what has been festering with Y'Shaarj and how powerful he could be by this point in time. Just to be clear, I don't discount the theory that there could be a brand new old god introduced and brand new old gods introduced, although if we use the same Shadowlands logic, we could be seeing some old characters returning quite soon. Thank you for watching. Check out who could be the final boss of Dragonfly by clicking on the screen, and check out my second channel for Slavic mythology and other real-world history. See you next time!